if I don't, so if I smile, he smiles? Okay, that's very weird. I think that's too distracting to leave up there. I really do. We'll see how it goes. Good morning. I'm still trying to get Instagram up here. Give me a sec. Hope you're doing well. It's FriYAY. Oh, yes, it is. And FriYAY is a good day. Why? Because we don't come in on the weekend. It means family time. Actually, I'm going to be working a little bit on the weekend because we're going to go live on Dave's Corner Garage, which is on Zoomer Radio. Oh, yeah. I need to change the angle here. No, I can't do that. I can do this. No, I can't. Changing the angle. Lots of stuff going here. Sorry for ignoring you. How do I change this? Here we go. It's very tight. Okay, tighten this. Better. Let's see if this... Boy, this is really a snug... Okay, locked it down. Where's that connected? Tighten that up. Cool. I don't think I like this creepy Santa... So for those that are watching on any other platform, you don't see the really creepy thing on my shoulder, the snowman that I keep wanting to call Santa Claus. How do I turn this off? Enhance. Effects. Yeah, stop. Nothing. No, I don't want anything. There we go. Oh, creepy, I tell you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, that show on the internet where you ask a traffic cop questions and we answer them. That's what it is. I never actually pressed go on Instagram. Sorry, Instagram. You missed the first hello. You are now live. Let's start again. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, the show on the internet where I answer your traffic and police questions live for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. We've even gone as long as 2 hours, but today, for sure, it's an hour because I have an appointment afterwards. So I got Zoom meetings, and then we're actually recording another session. We're going to go live again with our friends from Turf. We're going to record an episode of TPS Traffic Jam. We're going to do it a little differently. We're going to go live. So if you're interested at noon or shortly thereafter, we are going to go live and record an episode of TPS Traffic Jam. That's the podcast where I have a guest and we talk about stuff and things. And today it's going to be, who's it going to be? It's going to be Robin from Turf. Robin is the big boss. She is going to talk to us about impaired driving. And it's interesting because there's a specific slant. There's a discussion about women and impaired driving. And apparently there's a difference. I just thought impaired drivers were impaired drivers. But TURF, which is the Traffic Injury Research Foundation, has some statistics and information to share with us that is unique and different. And I'm really excited to see what we get to find out. What is this? We got Big Jeff Fresh with a good morning and happy FriYAY. And Jacob comes in with a morning, Sean. He's currently in Montreal. That's been happening a lot with you going to Montreal. Q comes in and says, boop the snoop, which reminds me to say, if you're watching, please, as Q requests, tap that screen till it goes out of, so you can't feel your fingertips, because by adding likes, regardless of what platform you're on, well, maybe there aren't likes on every platform, but if you do it on TikTok, if you do it on Instagram, you'll be bringing more people to the party. You'll be telling people that this is worthy of their time. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, or even Twitter, please share it, retweet it, do what you can do. Help spread the word. What is that word? The word is we're here to answer your questions, and we do it every day. It's weekdays, and more is better. Not that we actually get paid money for this. The platforms, we don't get advertising revenue. It would be nice. We could do something nice with it, but we can't. It's complicated. We're police. We don't touch money. Separate. Oh, and I just realized that the folks on, I'm glad I look at wires and stuff. I didn't plug in the microphone. I had it charging. Hopefully this improves the audio. I turned on the microphone connection for Instagram, but I didn't actually plug in the microphone, so you can still hear me, but you don't get to hear the sound effects like this. But now you do. That's the confirmation message. That I like the squeaky horn. We're just clowning around. Okay, let's see. First of all, we're going to get into questions, but I'm really curious where people are coming in from. If you're watching, please let me know where you're watching from. I'll hit some wavy buttons here for the folks on Instagram. And, Chris wants to know about off-duty officers. Please use the Q&A functionality, the question mark in the bubble on Instagram Live. I think it's the same for the interaction button on Q&A. Then I get to do stuff where I press on the screen, and Isaac's question comes up and says, as a driver, are you responsible for snowmen in the back? I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know what the question is. I don't know how to answer this question because it makes, I don't know what it is. Okay. Let's see. And Amanda says, good morning. Has anyone ever told you that you sound like Alan Cross? I have heard that. I've listened to Alan Cross. It doesn't, to me, he doesn't sound like me. I don't sound like him, but apparently, well, actually, I can tell you that you are not alone in your belief that I sound like Alan Cross. I'm going to have to listen to him a little bit more. What is Q owing about? Snowman? I don't know. Okay. You are responsible for cleaning your windows, but we'll go back to this, clearing off the snow. Maybe that's what they were talking about. If there is snow on your vehicle, if it's on your windshield, if you can't see out of it, if it's on top, you could end up damaging another vehicle. You could end up with charges for insecure load. Now, I've had the arguments from retired police officers that that's not the appropriate charge. Well, it's never been really used that way, but I think it's absolutely appropriate, and I'll argue it in court. Yes, I will. Let's see here. Can anyone remove my tickets? Remove them? Do you mean like, what do you mean by that? Because tickets are paper. You can put them wherever you want. If you mean you have convictions that you want to no longer be considered convicted of, well, that's a bigger problem. That's a problem because they're yours. You own them. You have an opportunity to defend yourself, but once you're convicted of them, you're convicted of them. There's no. I don't think maybe you could appeal it, but you still have to create a reasonable defense. And if you were convicted the first time, you've done it. You lost. Very often people go and attend court and make a defense, and they don't really know what they're doing, or they plead guilty, and maybe they did have a defense, but also many people just go and try their luck at like a lottery. Will the officers show up, which is, to me, an abuse of, well, it's not just to me, it is an abuse. If you were guilty and you're just looking for a way to get out of it, that's wasting the court's time. It's wasting everyone's time. If you are guilty, plead guilty. Maybe they'll give you a deal, but you're guilty. If you're saying you're innocent when you're guilty, I'm looping here. Okay. What do we have here? What do we have here? What speed would you pull someone over on the 400? Well, 400 isn't really my neck of the woods. This is the, it says above my head, Toronto Police. So 400 is generally policed by the OPP. That said, we are police officers anywhere, and if I was somebody enforcing speed on the highway, I would pull people over for speeding, which means any speed over the speed limit. I think generally 10 kilometers an hour on a 100 kilometer an hour zone is probably a reasonable buffer to give people the benefit of the doubt, but that's me personally. So that means anything over 10 over, I'd pull you over. I've pulled people over for doing 20 over all day long. 15 over on a 60 zone, no problem. So it's not that much of a threshold difference to go to 20 over. 10 kilometers an hour, maybe. Listen, if you're talking about slower zones inside the city of Toronto, they're currently 30 kilometers an hour. I'm not giving you 10 over leeway. You'd be lucky if you get 2 or 3 over. I'm going to pull you over because that's a very slow speed area. So anything over, and just to reiterate, anything over the posted speed limit is against the law, and you are eligible for tickets. And if someone wanted to pull you over for 1 over, they could do that, and they can get a conviction because you broke the law. But is it over the top to pull someone over for 1 kilometer over? I think so, because the speedometer could be different. They could be, I don't know, the wind could be carrying them, and they're lost in the conversation or listening to the radio. Or in 1 kilometer, that's an easy peasy one. Anyway, is the cheat test still modified? As far as I know, it is. I don't know if I've not heard any notifications to the contrary. What is this? Can I get in trouble for not wearing a seatbelt in the back seat? Yes, because you're required to wear a seatbelt in any seat, so you can get a ticket. If you're under the age of 16, you get the driver gets the ticket. If you're over the age of 16, the individual gets the ticket, and you're most deserving of the ticket. Do you know that a seatbelt is the number one way to prevent injury when you're involved in a collision? Because you actually maintain the seating position. You don't get ejected from the vehicle and thrown onto the road or bounced around and hurt other people as well. Yeah, it's a good thing. Hey, Scott Marshall's in the chat. No kidding. Scott Marshall is a safe driver. I get to plug his content whenever he jumps in. Thanks for letting me know that he's here because I didn't see him, but we got to get you back into the routine. I want to get you back on the live stream because Scott's good people. He's the safe driver. He's a former judge from Canada's worst driver, and my goodness, if that's still is that still on the air? Is that because there are so many bad drivers out there. They'd have content forever. Because I could film my own version of it just driving to and from work. Maybe I need a better dash cam. Maybe that's what I need. In any case, he is a good guy. He's a podcaster, blogger. He is a what is it? The Safe Driver. Safe Driver. It's called Speed Bumps. Safe Driving Podcast. See, I remember stuff. Check it out. You can download it anywhere. And of course, he's the Safe Driver. Google him and check out what he's got to say, because he is a former instructor of driving instructors. So he is the guy that I go to for stuff. Why did one of my screens go out? Oh, no, it's there. I'm just looking at the back of my chair. That looked like a screen. Look at that. The Instagram people know what I'm talking about. Everyone else just thinks it's... Well, actually, you can sort of see what I'm talking about. It's... All right. What we got here? Can an off-duty officer flash their badge from their personal vehicle? Yes, because we're always police officers 24/7, 365 days a week. Yes, we're always police officers. So if we flash our badges, or if we identify ourselves as police officers, which is what you're actually doing when you flash your badge, yeah. Somebody is taking offense to the fact, and I haven't seen this. Maybe maybe I can put their statement up here. Did they put it in the Q&A? So somebody is upset that tax dollars are paying for me to sit here. I assume I'm paraphrasing. Somebody doesn't understand what we do here. So for those who are wondering why a police officer is on social media talking to you today and every day, I'm a traffic educator, traffic safety educator. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. I'm here to answer your questions. Now, we used to do this every day almost. We'd be at a different location. We'd do trade shows and schools and events, barbecues. We would be there as an available resource for members of the public to come and speak to us. They'd be able to ask us questions. And you know what? We answered them. But we talked to a couple people, for an hour, and a couple people would come by, and a few people, and maybe over the course of a day, we'd speak to a couple hundred people, maybe 1,000 people. I don't know, probably not 1,000 people, and we did that all the time. And then COVID hit, and we stopped doing that. And then we started doing this, and now we speak to tens of thousands of people a day. It's really amazing. We've had live streams with over 40,000 people attending. So that's people on getting their questions answered in a much more efficient way, where we have archives of the answers, where we have YouTube and LinkedIn and all of these different platforms hosting this show so that you can get questions answered. It's really cool. It is possibly the most efficient way to deliver information, because we're seeing thousands of people every day. And we're also speaking on the radio. We're also speaking and answering stuff. I'm a media relations officer, so I speak to television and radio, the news, mainstream media. It's good. Anyway. Hey, if you want to get in touch with us, if you want to ask us questions, you can use trafficcop.ca. It'll take you to my link tree, and on there you can join our Volley group. Volley is a free platform where you can ask video, voice, or you can send video, voice, or text messages, and from there we can actually put you on the air. And I actually have a question here. Let's see what we have here. I saw a big, there's a bunch of stuff. All right, we've got Brian asks, what is this?
I don't think you understood my question. What I was asking is if I'm on the highway and I'm merging onto the left. So I'm merging from one highway to another on the leftmost side, into the leftmost lane, and I'm moving at the speed limit. And the person who is in the leftmost lane of the highway that I'm merging onto is speeding. I am forced to merge because
Okay. So this was a follow-up question from something yesterday. Because Brian had originally asked, is it illegal to cut in front of someone driving faster than you? Is it illegal to merge in the leftmost lane on the highway in front of someone who's speeding? And the answer is you can't cut anybody off. Even if they're speeding, you can't make an unsafe maneuver, because you're going to cause a collision, and you're still going to be responsible for that collision. So I did understand what you were saying, and I wasn't suggesting that you were trying to do something illegal, but you would be doing something illegal if you cut somebody off. Now, what's the option? You let the person who's traveling farther or faster than you get past you, and then you safely merge. Everything you do in a motor vehicle must be done safely, and especially changes of lanes or direction, because you're always responsible in that scenario. Hope that answers your question. Ryan Pinn, good morning to you. Oh. He says, Putin has something to do with a printer? Oh, I don't know. Somebody's angry. Okay, let's see here. There's lots of stuff international, and maybe there's something new that I haven't seen on the news today, but I haven't seen it. What do we got here? We have the live is good service. You'll learn on traffic law the easy way, not from charges. You are absolutely right. The goal here is to give you the stuff that you need to know so that you don't get charges, so you don't get involved in collisions, because as we talk about every day, we want you to get home safely all the time, every day, wherever you're going, to and from, and so on and so forth. Today being December 9th, Vision Zero enforcement team is out and doing their thing. What are they? They're a dedicated group of officers who are trying to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They do that in a very interesting way. You see, they issue tickets, not hugs. They educate people through enforcement. Today they are in 11 Division and 43 Division, which means they are in the Junction, Weston, High Park, Roncy, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, Guildwood. Those are neighborhoods where real people live that want to be safe, and they deserve to be safe. They have a right to be safe. And the people who are choosing to drive aggressively, speed, drive distracted on their phones or devices, if they're impaired, those are people who are putting lives at risk. It's unacceptable. We know that minor collisions happen. They're going to happen. They're inevitable. The ones that lead to serious injury and death are absolutely preventable, and it's driver decisions, behaviors that are the leading cause of issues. So change your driving behavior. If you're not breaking the law, you're not going to get tickets. It's an amazing, amazing thing. And people get upset with me all the time, that we're just tax collectors, police officers, tax collectors. No, nobody is being taxed from the perspective of a ticket unless they do something that's not legal. I don't understand why people get upset about it. They think they have a right to speed or drive. Today this actually blows me away. On my drive to work today, I had a guy behind me. I'm in the rightmost lane, and I'm doing the speed limit. Actually, I was probably about 3 or 4 kilometers over the speed limit as I paid attention because I had to check my speed. Why is this person high beaming me? He was right on my rear end, high beaming me, and then passed me aggressively on the left. He passed me on the left, and then takes off like a bullet, and ends up stopping in the next slowdown of traffic right in front of me. I don't understand. He even stared at me as he gave me a really scowly look. I questioned whether or not he was having a bad day because of me going just over the speed limit. And I was doing the wrong thing. I should have been going slower. If I was actually doing the 90 kilometers an hour instead of the 93 that I was doing, wow, he may have just lost his mind. Anyway, very disappointed to see people acting that aggressively when the person in front of them is not even properly following the law. I was going too fast, I admit it. Yeah, totally unacceptable. That behavior was aggressive behavior. The manner in which he passed me, and then the manner in which he accelerated and continued, he must have been doing 25 or 30 kilometers over the speed limit as he passed me, and continued to do so until he had to slam on the brakes to slow down. So, yeah, okay, off the soapbox. Would you ticket me if I started crying? Yes. The waterworks do not get discounts. I have seen people do very, very convincing crying shows. They still get the ticket. And when they get the ticket, oddly enough, the tears instantly stop. It's a show. More often than not, it's a show. Have I been compelled to reduce something? When I was a rookie, yeah. I had someone who mascara everywhere, and they were very upset, and they had a legitimate thing going on in their life. If they were able to ugly cry the way they were crying and act, then they deserved a medal or an award or something. They had a legitimate thing, and we actually talked about it, that we got them connected to some help. That's different. But the people who just give me the waterworks, no, I absolutely give them the ticket. Do you have your own account? VoiceOver Cop is my own account. That is a separate account from this account. And this is the corporate account. That is my own account. And I'm not a very frequent poster there. I'm trying to get better at posting stuff that's kind of off the traffic theme. But everything I even when I'm like putting my kids to bed, I talk about traffic. But I do. VoiceOver Cop is my socials, and trafficcop.ca will take you to all of my socials. So by all means, you can find me there. Thoughts on the liberal gun ban and amendments? Listen, personally, I'm probably not supposed to share personally, but I'm not a fan of what's going on because there are hunters and people who are lawful law-abiding gun owners who will be affected by this. And I don't think, and I can actually say that the chiefs of police have come out in opposition to this. Although I don't know which chiefs it was. I saw them on the news. They were announced as a chief. I believe that they were a chief. I don't think we've had anything, official said from here, but I don't know. I don't get it. Is scent probable cause to search a vehicle? Oh, scent, like the odor of marijuana. If it's fresh marijuana, and well, things have changed a little bit. Here's the thing: if I have reasonable probable grounds or I find something that's in plain sight, there's a number of different things. But the biggest thing back in the day, and I'm dating this as old information. It used to be if it was fresh or unburnt marijuana, that would be a reason to look. But if it was burnt marijuana, then it was not so. But you know what? It's been a long time since I've been involved with anything like that. I'll have to get you some updated information from people who currently enforce this stuff. I'm not on the road. I have not used that portion of my brain for a while. Why are tints still illegal when legal in the U.S.? Well, tints aren't exclusively illegal. Tints beyond a certain safety rating are illegal. And also, they're illegal in the United States as well. It's not like the states say, hey, do what you want. It's no, they actually say that they're illegal. I was in Orange County. I was at Disney, and I went to visit my friends at the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and we were talking traffic, because that's traffic cops, we do that. And I talked about the fact that we have an issue with people who have been tinting their front windshields, and they're like, we have the same problem here. I go, oh, they all tell me online that it's legal here. He goes, no, we ticket people for that here. So there's a lot of misconception. It's not legal to do whatever you want in the States. It's not the Wild West. Okay. Good morning. I was wondering if it's illegal to drive without insurance, as I'm in a situation where an at-fault person doesn't have it. Well, I can tell you that in Ontario, it is absolutely illegal to drive without insurance. All motor vehicles on the road must be properly insured. If you are driving that vehicle on the road without insurance, you are eligible for a wonderful charge under the Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act of Ontario. And with that, you have fines on a first conviction that range from $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail. So, yeah, there are real situations involved. Now, obviously, the person who was at fault in your collision and uninsured means that your insurance company is going to have to foot the bill, and that person should be charged. And that's fortunate that you are properly insured, because if you weren't, that'd really be a bad situation. And that's where things happen. Pedestrians get struck by an uninsured party. Well, they have no one to go to, right? I believe that there are some programs that can assist them, but it's a bad day at the office. Let's see. Thinking back to the scene in Office Space. Oh, Ryan is playing back movie. Who has a red stapler, but who has seen Office Space? I really, really enjoyed that movie. It was one of those makes me want to measure the amount of flair on a regular basis as I sip my water from a mug. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What if a cop is on the phone while driving? What if a cop is on the phone while driving? Then they are a cop who's on the phone while driving. And oddly enough, the police have an exemption under the Highway Traffic Act allowing them to do that. I know it's not a popular answer, but it's a legal one, because police can use their handheld communication device, whether it be a two-way radio or a police telephone, because guess what? My police phone is actually what's broadcasting on TikTok. This is my personal phone, and it's legal. If you're operating a police vehicle, it's legal. It's part of the lawful execution of the duties. So people get upset about it. Guess what? We're allowed to go faster than the speed limit, too, during the lawful execution of our duties. We have lights and sirens, because when we turn those on, we can go through intersections. Lawful execution of our... It bothers people. Everybody wants the same privileges. Well, guess what? If you want those privileges, you should join the Toronto Police. And when you're in the lawful execution of your duties, you can do that. But we are actually hiring, as much as I'm trying to make a joke out of this. We are hiring www.tps.ca/careers. You too can become a member of the Toronto Police. You don't have to be a police officer. You could be a civilian member. Mind you, when you're a civilian member, no lights and sirens for you. But you could be a court officer, a special constable. We have district special constables now. Some amazing new roles. Parking enforcement officer. Lots of things to do. We have IT people. We have lots of opportunities. We're a great employer. And if you are looking for a change in careers, you should consider us. www.tps.ca/careers. All the information you ever want to know and more. Cameron wants to know, what speed will you pull me over for? Any speed over the speed limit is generally the answer. Does a broken turn light from deer justify a stop? Does a broken turn light from deer? Do you mean you hit a deer? So first of all, anything, if you're projecting light to the rear, or you're projecting the wrong color light to the front, or you have significant damage on the vehicle, which might suggest maybe you're impaired because if you hit something, it's fresh damage. Maybe you have blood all over your car because you hit a deer. There's a whole bunch of reasons why we want to pull you over. But under the Ontario Highway Traffic Act, I can pull you over to check if you're licensed. I can check to see if you're impaired, which is actually under, not the HTA, but I can pull you over for that purpose. It's anybody, any police officer can pull you over at any time to check license status, insurance status, and impairment, level of impairment or sobriety. And we can also check to make sure that your vehicle is safe. So you don't have to break any rules to get pulled over. We can pull you over. Bothers people though. They go, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, obviously you did, or we're checking for those reasons. For instance, ride spot check, checking sobriety. Doesn't have to be at a ride program with a sign and flashing lights. We can just pull you over because we're doing sobriety checks. And with the introduction of mandatory alcohol screening, MAS, we can do that at any time and demand a roadside screening device test where you actually have to provide a breath sample. And if you refuse the breath sample, guess what? You get charged. And it's much easier to prove that you refused a breath sample than it is to prove that you had the amount of alcohol that scientific instruments have determined are in your blood. So people actually make life very easy for us by refusing to provide a breath sample. Yeah. Can you explain the saliva test and how recent it? I don't know. I don't know enough about the saliva test. The saliva test, the buccal swab, which is a Q-tip essentially that goes into your mouth and is tested by a device that determines contents or a concentration of THC, which is the active ingredient in marijuana. I don't know how it works. If I did, I would tell you, but I don't, so I can't. And but I do know that it is a portable device. It is out on the road and being utilized, and very often it's being utilized when novice drivers are just being found with anything in their system because you can't drive with it. You can't drive on it with it in your system. So yeah, zero is what's required from what I understand. Zero blood, alcohol content, and zero drugs. So bigger rims than stock are illegal? Question mark. No. Bigger rims than stock are not necessarily illegal. They have to be appropriate for the size of tire. They have to match. You can't have the stretched out rubber rim weird combination where it looks like something out of a TV show like Pimp My Ride, because those are generally stretched and unsafe. You can't have them. You can't have them protruding from beyond the body. They have to be covered by fender or fender flare. They have what else? What else? You obviously can't make contact with body or frame because that would be unsafe. So there's a bunch of factors that would be going into whether or not they become illegal. Just being bigger, not necessarily a problem. Oh, this is a very serious question. Popeyes, Mary Brown's, or KFC? I can't say that I go to any one of those three on a regular basis. Very few Mary Brown's in the areas that I grew up in. I mean, they were there, but I drive by them, so I've eaten there before. But I don't think I've had Mary Brown's in 20 years. Popeyes, there's one outside of our station, so I've eaten there more recently. KFC, it's got to be 10 years since I've intentionally had KFC. Actually, you know what? It was when I was at 12th Division. We used to have, I used to have KFC on a irregular basis. But yeah, we have silly questions about murder. No, it's not legal. What is this? Are there places, Conky from YouTube wants to know, are there places where you can get advanced driver training for already licensed drivers? Absolutely, Conky, great question. Many places like racetracks, auto sports centers. There are manufacturers like, I don't know if they still do it, but BMW used to offer advanced driver training. My brother took a course. They used to do it at Downsview Military Base on the runway that was not active. They would go out and do high-speed stuff. It was amazing. Many racetracks offer that same training. I really want to blow my nose. I'm sick. I shouldn't have. I was considering not coming into work today, but I said I got to go live. Hang on one second. I'm gonna mute. First ever nose blowing on my channel, on this channel. Yes. Oh my goodness. After the show, I'm going home. That's the two. Yes, I'm gonna sleep. That's what I'm gonna do, or at least take some kind of like make everything stop, because I hate and I just ran out of Kleenex. Okay. I have me G2, so I can't drink or smoke ever. Correct. Until you are not allowed to have any drugs or alcohol in your system as a G2 driver at all. As a full G driver, you can't have anything in your system until you are 22 years old. And even then, you can only have up to a certain limit. You can't be impaired. So, yes, you can't have. Coffee and donut, are you a dipper or munch and sipper? I just drink coffee. Very rarely do I have a donut. And it's messy, and you eat the donut, one shot, clean your hands, drink your coffee if you're going to do it. I don't sit and, no. But I don't often have donuts. Chicken wings, however, I like. Not with coffee, though. What happens for people driving under the limit? What limit? Alcohol limit, speed limit, patience limit? What are we talking about? I don't know what your question is. I'm assuming you mean speed limit. So let's talk about that. If you're driving under the speed limit, stay to the right. Simple as that. You're not required to drive at the speed limit. You're allowed to drive under the limit, not unreasonably so much that you're impeding traffic, because that could be a problem. I see somebody clarified speed limit. Was it you? It was you. So yeah, if you're driving, at the speed limit, well, everyone's supposed to be at the speed limit. We still say stay to the right because somebody who wants to put lives at risk and is a menace to society is going to go faster than you, make them go to the left-hand side to pass you, not on the right where it creates even more risk. But we have many people who don't buy into the concept of speed, like the fact that it kills. Speed kills. It increases your odds of becoming involved in a collision. It additionally increases the level of damage and injury when collisions occur. And since you're increasing the odds of collision and you are increasing it's just a mess. Don't speed. Simple as that. Karen wants to know, are you married? Yes, I am. Very happily, in fact. We had this conversation yesterday. Somebody said, who are you attracted to? I said, my wife. But yes, I am married. And I think my wife is watching. Hi, honey. My wife is very supportive of the show. She jumps on and says hello on a regular basis. If I'm in the left lane going 100, is that fine? Well, it should be fine because it's the legal limit, and anyone who's choosing to go faster should be getting a ticket. Hey, she says hello. She is watching. Hi. The deal is that it should be fine, but when doing 100 in the left lane, you are forcing the lawbreakers, the menaces to society, the people who... See, I'm trying to be negative. I'm trying to call them out as being bad because they're bad. You're driving illegally. You're a violator if you speed. So the violators will have to pass you on the right to continue violating, and that puts others at risk. So I would ask that if you're going to do the speed limit and be a lawful, good citizen who... And I say good citizen not to mock. It really is a good person who is driving the speed limit. Stay to the right. Let the people who are dangerous pass you on the left. It also makes life a lot easier for police officers who are then able to write them a ticket much easier. Keep them all on the left. That's where we focus. Now, additionally, there are people who are legally allowed to exceed the speed limit, namely police officers. So staying out of their way is also good. Then you don't have to see the lights and sirens come on so that they can tell you to get out of the way so they can continue going to an emergency. What do we got here? We have a question. Oh, just a reminder. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk to you about on social media about traffic and police stuff all the time. My goal is to make roads safer. My goal is to have people not get tickets for things they didn't understand because there's so much confusion when it comes to the law. I want to help iron that out. Now, if you have questions, use the Q&A functionality. That's a function where you can ask a question and we can put it on screen. And I saw here from Alcina says, can tow trucks speed? But they didn't put, I just happened to notice it because it's not busy on Instagram. But if you use the Q&A function, you're actually doing it the right way, because then because no one's used the Q&A function. But the answer, since I saw it, is that no, tow trucks are not exempt and not permitted to exceed the speed limit. Police, fire, and ambulance can. That is it. Tow trucks, we can give them lots of tickets, though. And we do. But the tow trucks that put people's lives at risk by racing, because very often they are trying to get to a call so they get paid, well, they put lives at risk when going to help other people. All right. Top speed you've driven a cop car. I don't know. I've never measured. I've gone quite fast on a police motorcycle during. I was a member of the motor squad during that time that as a motor squad officer, I was involved with escorts, dignitary escorts, which means I was very often required to exceed the speed limit in order to get to the front of the and beyond the package to shut down the road. I'm trying to get a Kleenex out of the package, and that called for me to go quite quickly. A specific speed, irrelevant. Legally doing it, but irrelevant as to how fast. Your favorite supercar? I don't really have a favorite supercar. They're all too small for me to fit into. I'm 6'5" and a big guy. I don't fit into these tiny cars. That I saw it was like a $2 million Bugatti or something that was rear-ended, driving through a city street. Like the thing crumpled like a $2 bill. Like it was a tin can. It was just garbage. $2 million. Garbage. Very pretty, very fast, great, but they're not designed to take impact, even minor impact. Ticket for 10 over if flowing with traffic. Are you asking me if I would give you a ticket for 10 over if flowing with traffic? I think we addressed this. 10 over, I'm not that concerned of. Somebody else might be. You never know, because guess what? 10 over, flow of traffic or otherwise, is against the law. Many new cars have blinding lights. How's it legal? New cars, they do have. They're shipped with legal requirements. They are not. They are not illegal. Hey, I thank you for the reminder. I have a birthday that I've got to talk about. Not that I got to talk about. I want to talk about. And I emailed a screenshot to myself to mention it. So let me pull that up here. Hang on a second. Where's the email from myself? That's what I want to know. Where is it? Here we go. Screenshot. Yes, here we go. So to Lisa, happy belated birthday, because Lisa's birthday was really yesterday. And, Lisa's a longtime watcher and reached out and mentioned that it was going to be her birthday. And what better way to celebrate for me to take my day off. I took a day off yesterday to go to the dentist. And so I missed the birthday. So my apologies for not being able to do this live on your birthday, but as a belated, happy birthday, Lisa. And Cyrus would have been proud. That's you mentioned that. So it's hopefully that's good stuff. Hopefully good stuff. Okay. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you've been having a great day yesterday and that you had the birthday you were hoping for. And I hope that the birthday joy continues today. Okay, moving on, because we got stuff to do. But I thank you for the reminder. Let's see. What is this? What is it? Charges for driving uninsured, unlicensed, and stolen plates. Well, you got a lot going on there. But, of course, charges, yes, you would be charged for driving uninsured. The owner is going to get the nice charge with $5,000 to $25,000 on the first time. Even if they're not in the car, the owner is going to get charged for permitting you to do it. If you're unlicensed, it's an additional $350, I believe. And stolen plates, well, stolen suggests we're going to start talking about some criminality. Josh says, you might recall that I was charged with failed to keep right when I was doing 105 in the left lane when someone was trying to go faster behind me. I have decided to contest it. I don't disagree with you. I think it's ridiculous that the law is being interpreted in such a way that it is contradicting other laws. But you know what? This is why lawyers and prosecutors, they get to go and argue those things. But I wish you luck. I don't understand why anyone would be charged for doing the right thing when someone who is doing the wrong thing is upset with them, right? No one should be speeding. What is this? Ever had a ticket that you regret? Do you mean like I regret issuing or that I got myself? I regret the 2 tickets that I remember ever getting. I regret running a stop sign that I didn't even see, and I regret having gone, I think, 15 or 20 over on Highway 7 when I was like 16 years old. Because, well, actually, you know what? I take that back. I don't regret them. You know why I don't regret them? Those were the only 2 tickets I ever got, because I learned from those experiences. That's exactly what a ticket's supposed to do. Maybe if I didn't get those tickets, I would have been, someone who drove dangerously and hurt someone. But those tickets effectively changed my behavior. They did what they were designed to do. So I don't regret them at all. So I changed my tune. Mind you, I recently got a parking ticket. I actually thought I was in the right. I was wrong. I was too close to the intersection. It's 9 meters to an intersection. I was within 9 meters. So technically I was in the wrong. I paid my ticket, $50, and that's it. I learned. I will never make that mistake again. I regret having to pay $50, but it is a lesson. And sometimes you need that connection, the not so great feeling of a ticket to remind you. Recommend RCMP or municipal police services. I'm very biased. I like the Toronto Police a lot. I've been here for 22 years. I would totally suggest applying to the Toronto Police Service. www.tps.ca/careers for all the information you need to know about joining us. RCMP, I have friends at RCMP. I can't say anything bad about them, just that I'm very happy here, and I've never worked there. The question is, did Erin give me the ticket? No, Erin did not. But I did talk to her before I parked there. I'm like, am I okay to park here? And we didn't ever get into the 9 meters thing. So I thought I was okay. And I blame her entirely for that ticket. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Let's see here. Jay says, so I'm assuming you make around $100,000 a year, and I did the math, and in a city like Toronto, assuming a minimum of 4 million adults pay taxes, it costs each person less than a third of a cent to fund this live for 1 hour a day, 52 weeks a year. Very interesting. I've never done that math to think about what the actual cost to taxpayers is. But the return on investment is fantastic. We have had such positive responses to the work we've been doing here. It's coming up on 2 years. We've had so many positive feedback messages, emails, surveys that we've done. Fantastic stuff. And how do you measure success? How do you measure if we're making the roads safer? Well, you really can't. You can't conclusively say that what we're doing is changing driver behavior, but the feedback suggests we're doing great work. We still see an uptick in many areas where people are choosing to drive poorly, but that's a choice they make. At least we're educating people. And for the people who are taking the information and doing good things with it, maybe we're saving lives. And we can't say for sure, but I like to believe that we're doing great stuff. And we would have been doing it anyway, just be doing it in person if we weren't doing it here. Thanks, Jace, for that intro, that perspective. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. What is this? What is that? Okay, Chase has a voice message.
When Visa does enforcement with regards to aggressive driving, what are the most typical charges I get laid? Because I know there's no aggressive driving charge per se.
Aggressive driving is a blanket that covers a whole bunch of charges, from stop signs and red light runners and people who are making unsafe lane changes and cutting people off. And that's sort of a blanket. But the number one charge that's being laid is actually speeding. Speeding is an epidemic. People just don't take it seriously. So they need tickets to allow them to see a different perspective. No one should be speeding. No one should be driving aggressively, and certainly nobody should be on the cell phone. Kamal says, keep up the good work, sir. Thank you very much. What is this? Is police allowed to break into a vehicle in a private property to remove it from the property? Request by a parking enforcement. That's a complicated question. Can you get a vehicle removed from private property? Yes. If you, as the owner, say you want it off the property and the requirements are there, are met, then yeah, you can get it towed off your property, absolutely. What is the highest ticket you gave? Speed or dollar amount? A dollar amount, well, depends, because you're talking about face value or the stuff that is yet to be, I've laid thousands of charges. When it comes to stunt driving, that's a big range, up to $10,000 based on the conviction. It's $2,000 to $10,000 and up to 6 months in jail. Not to mention the immediate suspension, the future suspension, and what the impact to the individual is who has to take a bus or a cab or whatnot for the period of time that there's suspension. It's 1 to 3 years on the first conviction, and it's also a 14 day now. It used to be 7 days suspension, and used to be 7 days now. 14. Did I say 14? 30-day suspension now. Used to be 7. It's a 14-day impound. Used to be 7. Anyway, lots of money. So when you add that up, it could be huge monies that my tickets resulted in. But these are all people who chose to conduct themselves in the way that they did, and I don't feel sorry for them. If you're talking about the highest speed, I don't know. Lots of high flyers. I never kept score. It's not about score. It's not. I don't get there's no prize for having the fastest ticket or best ticket. Yeah. Keenan wants to know if CB radios are considered handheld devices for distracted driving. Yes, they are. There are exemptions. For instance, a ham radio operator who is licensed does have the ability of using a ham radio. They're licensed to do it, and they have special exemptions. All right. Any updates on the guy running on TPS cruisers? So this is where a self-proclaimed musician, musical artist, person is being climbing up on police vehicles and doing silly stuff on them. No, the videos are being stored, and the account's information has been forwarded to the appropriate division. I hope that they get charged for mischief. They shouldn't be dancing on police cars. That's just silliness. Can an officer use a LiDAR detector while in motion? LiDAR, at least from the versions that I've seen of it, requires you to be stationary. That's something that we wouldn't use while driving. Radar, however, we do have inside vehicles that is set up for moving use. So I can capture your speed while I'm driving behind you, in front of you, while you're approaching or going away. Doesn't matter. Can I be RCMP if I don't want to leave my province? My understanding is they send you where they need you, so that's part of being hired. Most people that are English speaking only go to. Actually, I don't know for certain, but I know that most people go to Burnaby. I think it's Burnaby. Why can't people pass on a double line? Well, the double line suggests it's unsafe, but you can pass on a double line. You're just responsible for what happens next. There's no charge for crossing the line in Ontario. Other provinces do have a charge. We don't. What is the oldest new constable recruit you've seen? In my class was 50 or 52 when I went through. I was not young myself. I think I was 38 when I went through. I had been a police officer, a court officer, a court supervisor, auxiliary constable. But when I became a police officer, I was 38 and they were in their 50s. And I think we've had people older than that who have gotten through. CB radio, can I get a permit to use my handheld? CB, no. It's specifically amateur radio, ham radio. CB, there's no exemption for CB that I am aware of. It's specifically listed as ham. Who uses this? I have a CB. It's sitting in a box brand new. When Radio Shack was going out of business, I bought a CB thinking, I need to make sure I have a new CB. Wherever will I be able to get a CB? So I bought an extra one. It's still sitting in its original box. What modifications are legal on a car? The legal ones. Shannon, that is a long, long list of... we could be here for months. I don't know how to give you an answer for everything. You'd have to ask me about specific stuff, and I can tell you yes or no. And even then, there's range between the yes and no of maybe. Talk to a mechanic. Make a plan before you start bolting things to your car or cutting things off of your car, because you want to make sure you're legal. And many of the modifications people don't do anything except annoy other people. So don't go cutting off exhaust pipes and mufflers and things of that nature. Is there a limit of the number of times I can cross the border until they say no? I don't know of a limit. I do know that at any time, if they think you're suspicious, they can just deny you entry into the other country, and then you can't come back ever. They can do 5 years and just go away for 5 years, and you cannot challenge it. It's just done. If I bought an exhaust loud exhaust illegal if it's by brand like, I don't know. I don't know about specific brands. They've got to obviously meet the requirements under the HTA. Can I drift or race on private land? The answer is no. You cannot, unless it's a racetrack. If it's a legitimate racetrack that is accepted and qualified and licensed and insured as such, then it's a racetrack, and there are exemptions under the HTA for that. However, you can't do it on your driveway, your backyard, your farmer's field, your anything. I don't know what that means. How far away are you able to read someone speeding? The devices have various systems, like have various maximums. I've measured stuff at farther than I can see, so I can't use that. I've got to be able to identify the vehicle, but it's hundreds of meters. 250 is not a big deal, so I can't give you a number because I don't know what the actual effective maximum is, and there's other things at play. You know, I might be able to get a reading, but that reading at a certain distance, because with a laser the beam is widening, so at a certain point I might be covering multiple vehicles, or at least not aiming as much as I think I'm touching one vehicle. I might be touching two vehicles. So for me, there's going to be an effective distance, but that's going to be for me. Officer was in motion and said LiDAR on ticket. Well, we don't put LiDAR on the face of a ticket. So, and maybe they are mistaken. Or maybe there's technology I'm not aware of. Or maybe this person needs to be blocked because they said naughty words. When do TPS investigate a collision? What do you mean? So we have different criteria for at scene and or collision reporting center. So if someone goes to hospital by ambulance, we investigate. If there's any criminality, we investigate. If there is any question as to legitimacy of someone's insurance, or we're going to be there. If there's property damage to government or public property, we're going to be there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But if you're involved in a collision and if it's under $2,000, it's non-reportable as long as there's no injuries, no criminality, and so on. So it depends. It depends on a bunch of different things. Minor collisions, you can go to the tps.ca and there's information on what the criteria is, or if you're really curious or questioning, you're at the side of the road after a collision, you can always call and we will give you, our dispatchers will tell you exactly what you need to do. Hey, if you are involved in a collision and you are a pedestrian or cyclist, there is now an additional location that you can attend for your benefit. It is to be more convenient to those of you who are in the downtown core. You can go to the Collision Reporting Center at 9 Hannah, the building I'm in right now, and you can do or complete your report there. That's for pedestrians and cyclists only. Motor vehicles can only use the other two existing locations. Mind you, as a cyclist or pedestrian, you can use any one of the three, but there is one downtown to make your life a little easier. What do we have here? Favorite place to stop for breakfast or snack while on duty? Alex wants to know. I used to have so many different places because I was all over the city, and I used to I like supporting local business. So if I was hungry and I saw something and I had a lunch to take, I would take it in, a mom and pop shop as often as I could. But I was just thinking about this yesterday. I was reminiscing on the telephone with a friend of mine, and actually, no, it was my dad, who's also a friend of mine, and we were talking about, we miss horribly the Fry Basket. The Fry Basket was at Yonge and Steeles, just north of Steeles, New York side, and that was our favorite place for breakfast. Absolutely, hands down, without question. And Sandy shut it down. I don't know what happened. Hope she's doing well. That was my favorite place for breakfast for my entire childhood, and they had the best French fries ever. It was a great deal. This isn't a police place; it was just a place, and a lot of us went there. When I was an auxiliary sergeant, I used to take my my platoon there. We used to go have breakfast before doing details, because it was great value, great food, and I miss it. All right, dad joke time, because Chase did it. Today there was an artist found dead by the police. The details are a little sketchy. Ba-dum-dum. That means I need to go with the box of dad jokes. And I need to read one. I went to a seafood disco last week. I pulled a mussel. This was only $6.99 at a particular store. And I could have had like a case of Diet Coke for that. Or Pepsi. How much tire poking out of a fender is too much? I've been told a quarter inch. A quarter inch probably wouldn't even get my attention, but I see vehicles with the entire tire sticking out. You could be running into issues. You need to have mud flaps. It has to be safe. There's a number of issues. Is vaping and driving illegal? The answer is depends. If you're vaping so much that you're fogging the car and you can't see, that's the driver's view being obstructed. That's unsafe. That's illegal. Or if you have anyone under the age of 16 in the car, that's illegal. And if you have anything that's illegal in the vape juice, it would be illegal. Can't have any narcotics or drugs in there. What do we got here? Player Zero wants to know what's the highest speed you personally laid off. I don't know. It got cut off, but I don't know. I don't keep score. But we've had some. I've had some high flyers. I just don't know. I don't know. Good morning. Oh, cool. So John Woodstraw says good morning from Wasaga. Last time I got a good morning from Wasaga, I said, is it Wasaga or Wasaga? And it's Wasaga. And I will make sure I always say it correctly now. Thank you very much, John. Wasaga, not Wasaga. But so many people say Wasaga Beach. It's Wasaga. I appreciate you. I do. Does Canada have a highway police like America? So, we have a federal police that could be doing any one of the jobs. In different jurisdictions, they're even municipal policing. In some provinces, there are people, I think there are sheriffs that do specifically highway patrol. In Ontario, we have the Ontario Provincial Police, which focuses on highway in the GTA, where municipal police exist, but do municipal policing elsewhere. So it depends, because we pulled the depends Band-Aid off, and we're depending it all. Depends is always the answer for every answer. Can I have an amber beacon on my truck? It's not against the law. You have hazard lights too. Amber beacon, when being used responsibly, not a problem. Is it illegal to train your 14-year-old on land? What are you training them for? I assume you mean driving, but my goodness, there are so many things that you can go wrong with that. Like like potty training. I don't know. In any case, allowing a 14-year-old to drive on private property is not illegal, although it's not suggested. But you look at kids who go karting. That's effectively learning how to drive. Can you drive and operate on private property a motor vehicle? Yeah, you can, because we can't stop you. But if you're stunt driving on private property, you can be charged, even if you're unlicensed. So, this depends. No, you cannot be charged for driving without a license on private property. Is a monster truck style allowed to drive around the city roads? No, you can't have those ridiculously large vehicles. They'd have to have mud flaps. At very least, they'd have to have mud flaps covering the tires. There's a lot of issues surrounding there, and it's a lot of gray area. So I see vehicles like that all over the place, and I think they're all illegal. Are you watching the World Cup? No, I don't watch basketball. Sorry, I don't watch sports at all. I know it's soccer, but I like triggering people. I really do. My wife is probably like losing her mind right now. Like, why are you doing this to people? They just like soccer. Leave them alone. Okay, but I don't watch. I don't follow these sports. I used to watch shooting though. I'm a competitive. Was a competitive marksman. I used to like watching shooting, IPSC and whatnot. Is something I find entertaining because I do it. So as I do it, I can appreciate somebody else doing it. I don't golf. I don't watch people, as George Carlin used to say, take a little ball, hit it, and go look for it, and then hit it again. It's not appealing to me. So because with shooting, I can appreciate it because I do it. That's why I can watch it. And even then, I can't watch it for days. It's YouTube for 10 minutes. How to avoid being honked at for not doing 20 over. You can turn up your music, or you can stay to the right. I suggest staying to the right. The truth is that there are rude and dangerous drivers everywhere. Let them pass you on the left. Don't block the lane. And some police services will lay a charge to you for even speeding if you're in the left lane. So pull to the right. My wife just sent me an emoji because she's not impressed with my soccer comments. I know, I'm feeling it, I know. Is there a charge for driving with an amber flashing light? No. For a tow truck driver, there's a charge if they're not using it in the appropriate time. How bright is too bright for headlights? There is an actual number of which I do not recall, but I'd look it up in the event that I was trying to. Okay, maybe I can look it up. We've got 1 minute to go. I think we're going to go a couple minutes over, which is okay because I'm really running on half speed because I don't feel well. I feel like this has been a blur. It hasn't been a FriYAY. It's been a FriYAY. FriYAY. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm the only one enjoying these jokes today. What do we got here? What was the question? Oh, headlights. Headlights. 62.1. What was that sound? And how do I make it never happen? No, I don't want that sound. I spoke to tech support today. I no longer get notifications from emails. They don't play sounds. But I was told no longer will I get any sounds, or at least I was under that impression. How do I get reminders to never make noise? I don't want to have any noise. 62.1. Okay. Because I don't want you to have to be subjected to it. But I've had a dozen emails that have not made horrible noises during the live today, so I'm appreciative of the assistance I received from our wonderful tech support people. Lamps. Okay. I'm looking up the light requirements. Will I be able to find it? Will I be able to? Maybe in the regulations, maybe in a different section. Because they do have a minimum and max. So it's a minimum of 300 candela. But I don't see the maximum, and I know it exists somewhere. So unfortunately, I can't find it right now. But there is a maximum, and I don't want to give you bad info. So we'll have to revisit this another date, another time. What is this? Does Canada have a sheriff department? The sheriff's office in Ontario deals with changing the locks on doors. They act on behalf of the courts to take commercial property, change the locks for people who don't pay their bills, and act on court orders. How did you start going bald? Well, first, what do you mean? How do you start going bald? Yeah, go bald because it just is. I'm fortunate. Do you know how much work it would be if I had to shave my forehead to get this look? I get this naturally. No work involved. In fact, usually I just have to shave the rest of it so it all matches. I've just been a little lazy. I keep wanting to get the rest of it off because I got this chia pet thing going where I grow hair until I get around to it. It's very, very cost effective though. But I'm fortunate that I don't have to shave my head to look like this. It happens naturally. Some people want to look this good. They have to pay for it, hair removal and all sorts of things. Enforce puppies on lap when driving. I did, I will. I endorse. If you have a dog on your lap, you are putting not only the animal at risk, but everybody else. You are distracted by that animal. Thus, you are carelessly driving. You cannot operate a vehicle safely when you are trying to navigate around a fluffy thing that has a mind of its own because it's a living thing. Don't drive with animals on your lap. They should be tethered or crated and in the backseat for their safety and yours. In the event of a collision, they will get tossed around. They will become a fur projectile, and they will probably not survive. And if they do, they may not survive what happens next because airbags deploy at 200 miles per hour. If they are somehow managing to get past that and you are stuck in the vehicle, it gets out, gets hit by a car, you will have terrible guilt and bad feelings. Don't do that. Not to mention charges if I stop you or one of my friends stops you. Having a trailer hitch in and not towing, is it illegal? No, it's not illegal. Your shins may not appreciate it when you walk into it, but it's not illegal. Is TPS doing anything about dangerous truckers? We actually have a specific unit, the Commercial Vehicle Inspection Unit here, and they go and inspect vehicles all the time. And if they come across one, they will take it out of service that's unsafe. If they're driving unsafely, any police officer will stop them for driving unsafely. And with that, I gotta go. There's so many great questions here. I'm sorry if I didn't get to all of yours. I know there's lots of people who are here wanting to get answers to their questions. Use trafficcop.ca, go into Volley, ask a question there. We'll talk about it offline, even over the weekend, or put it in the Q&A, and I'll try and make a video specifically about it. That is my goal whenever I get Q&A stuff. Doesn't always work in the time frame that I want, but it does get to happen eventually. And that is it. That is all. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. If you drive, well, don't drink. Don't do drugs. Because driving sober is driving sober is what you have to do to be safe. Driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol, yeah, that's illegal. Yeah, that'll get you charged. Not good. Not good. We want people to get to where they're going safe and sound, and it is that holiday season. We want everyone to be happy and safe and jolly. Is jolly a thing? I think it's a thing. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.